Hi, I'm Dan Sokulski, recovery specialist with Chestnut Health Systems in Bloomington, Illinois, also member of the McLean County ROSC. And just want to talk a little bit about some of the 12-step symbols for specifically the AA program and Narcotics Anonymous. Some of you have probably seen, this is basically what it really looks like as opposed to my drawing. But basically the circle and the triangle, just kind of want to talk about what that means, why it's significant, what the different aspects of that triangle mean. Because it helped me early on to understand that I can't work one part of a 3-part or 4-part program and then wonder why I can't stay sober and I keep relapsing, right? So for AA, find this on any sober medallion, any sober or clean time, abstinent time key tag. With NA, it has the logo. A lot of times you'll see "to thine own self be true," it will say, and then on the back it'll have this symbol. And so the 3 sides, circle and the triangle, basically stand for unity, service, and recovery. Unity, pretty self-explanatory. That's basically our fellowship, meetings, getting together for sober events, sober recreation, anything where one alcoholic or one substance abuser are getting together, share in union and help each other, just have fun together, whatever it might be. The other, service, also may seem self-explanatory in a lot of ways. It is. This could be something within the realm of a recovery program, like a home group secretary or treasurer or an intergroup chairperson or office manager, somebody chairing a meeting, somebody helping transport sponsees or newcomers to and from meetings. But it could also be, I'm just going to put giving back here because that's really what service is about. Doesn't really matter what it is, in my opinion. When I was early in recovery, living in a transitions home, I did my last time in treatment was long-term. I did 2 months in a residential program and then about 2.5 months in a transitions home. And 3 times a week they take us for 2 hours to do service. And we weren't really ingrained into the recovery community too much because we're living down there temporarily. So we could get involved with the intergroup or certain meetings on a voluntarily basis. But they also had us going to no-kill, it was called the Big Dog No-Kill Shelter, and we'd walk dogs for an hour and a half. Habitat for Humanity, doing like repurposing, working in the restoring Goodwill store, community gardens, food pantry, anything like that. Service, the idea being as an alcoholic, as an addict, I've taken for so much time, for so many years. Now service gives me the opportunity to give back. Also gives me the opportunity to do things, physical things to get out of my emotional headspace if I am a little twisted on that particular day over some situation. And then the big one, recovery. And it's no coincidence that it's the foundational piece, right? And recovery is basically, at least the way it was explained to me, that is the 12 steps, okay? So recovery is really the spiritual component. I mean, you can certainly feel spiritual energy and growth through service, through unity, no question about that. But the steps are designed for the single purpose of bringing about a spiritual awakening. If you are a member of a 12-step program or you want to work a 12-step program, maybe you're new, the steps are solely designed to bring about a spiritual awakening promised in step 12. Because, as our literature states, over and over, no amount of human power can relieve our alcoholism or our addiction. Most of us have tried that over and over, trying to get sober for our kids, our spouses or significant others, for our employer, for our probation officer, our parents, whoever it might be, until that comes from inside through taking simple daily actions. It just, for most of us, it doesn't work. Now, there are some people that can perhaps stop for a certain amount of time based on consequences, enough bad things going on in their lives. And for me, that always had a shelf life. I can do that My dad used to say, change is easy, maintaining change is what's hard. And I think that's true. And when it came to recovery, I could sort of white knuckle it or buckle down for maybe a few weeks, a few months. But when I was not involved in the middle of this program, right in the center, that's where we want to be, the triangle in the circle. When I'm out here on the outskirts, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, then I'm in trouble. You look at it like you have the flu or something, right? You go to the doctor and you've been running a fever, can't keep food down, going to the bathroom all the time, whatever, all the horrible flu symptoms you can imagine. And you finally get up the strength to get to the doctor, and he says, writes you a prescription for a Z-Pak or something, an antibiotic, and he says, take 2 of these today, keep taking them every day, you'll start feeling better in about 24, 48 hours, right? Who among us is going to take that prescription and just leave it in our glove box or throw it in our junk drawer at home and say, no, I'm going to just continue to suffer. I'm going to choose to continue to suffer, right? No, we get that puppy filled immediately because we want to start feeling better. We have an ailment and this is a solution, this prescription to start feeling better, along with fluids or whatever it might be. And so, that's our priority. Somehow we have this disease, progressive, fatal, chronic, present. It wants us dead. It'll settle for us being absolutely miserable. And yet we'll tell ourselves, no, I'm not ready. I can do all these simple things, like I can go walk dogs, or I can chair a meeting, or I can give somebody a ride, or I can go to a recovery picnic, or go to a meeting. Is there anything that we're talking about here that we're not capable of doing? Or I can get a sponsor and start doing the step works, make some decisions to keep working a program like my 3rd step, be open-minded that there might be some power out there greater than me, like in a 2nd step, write an inventory of my character defects and how they've held me back, 6 and 7, practice prayer and meditation to get closer to a power greater than me, 11. Point is, this is all stuff where everybody's capable of doing. And I suffered for 7 years in and out of treatment centers, trying to do it my way, having 1 foot in, 1 foot out, maybe getting in the middle, starting to feel better, and then pull my will back and fall back on the outskirts. The cool thing about recovery is we're all capable of doing it. It's just the reason it's cunning, baffling, powerful is we've got that part in our head that tells us, we have this disease that wants us dead, but will tell us we don't have it, right? Or that we're different. And for some reason, that stuff, those actions might be good for somebody else, and that's great, but we're different. We can cut corners. One of the slogans I like the least in recovery is take what you want and leave the rest. To me, that's an invitation to cut corners and, just do the stuff that I'm comfortable with and not, the stuff that I'm uncomfortable with, or that's the real work or the harder stuff, that really will bring about growth. I'm just going to kind of procrastinate that or maybe not even do it. And I know it's probably not the true intention of that slogan, so don't jump down my throat too much. But what I'm trying to get at is, not only what these things means, but some of the actions behind them. And that if you're somebody new, you're somebody struggling, or maybe you had some sobriety time, lost it, trying to get back on your feet, it's all about those simple daily actions, and we're all totally capable of doing them, right? And when it comes to NA, similar sort of transference of ideas. And with NA, they use a diamond, and it actually, if I could draw, I'd do more of the 3-dimensional sort of interpretation that they have. But it basically comes down to self, God, which we could equate to recovery and the steps, society, which I think we can equate to unity, and then of course service, kind of a one-for-one, apples-to-apples comparison. The way they draw it is like as a universal program that brings about freedom up at the top, at kind of the pinnacle of the diagram, and then goodwill sort of as the foundational piece. Doesn't matter what program you're working, it really just has to do with what your drug of choice is. And the problem's the same. The reason we drink, the reason we use is because we're trying to fill that void, a lot of us call spiritual malady, and it works for a while and then it stops working. And when it stops working and we're not even liking the effect produced by it, then do we know true loneliness and desperation, and that's called the jumping off point, when we can't live with it, can't live without it. So kind of understanding the basics, the foundational pieces of a recovery program was helpful to me, because then I could break it down into specific actions and things that I need to do and focus on a daily basis. And when I look at recovery as sort of a big thing, not looking at it one day at a time, just as a rest of life, oh my gosh, I can never drink or use drugs again, that's overwhelming. But when I look at it like just, okay, I gotta just, go to a meeting, talk to another person in the program, practice some prayer and meditation, read a little bit out of the literature, and just do these kind of things, maybe be of service where I can today, then it becomes a lot easier, So recovery is a reality. We can all do it. We just got to get out of our own way, and jump in the middle of these programs and find much better chances of success. So that's all I got. Thank you.